Hi, and welcome to Confidence Equals Beauty with Amanda Taylor. Here on this podcast, you can find motivation and learn different techniques and styles to help you step out of your comfort zone and build the confidence you deserve. I'm your host, Amanda Taylor. I'm a trained mental health therapist along with life coaching experience to help women like you to love and accept themselves for who they were meant to be. I teach women how to change their mindset and self-talk to get to a place where they can relax into their season, shine bright, and live out their God-given purpose. Today's episode will help you grow in confidence as confidence equals beauty. So today I want to talk about empowering self-esteem, building confidence in a social media world. And this is something we face very often, more than we would need to. And I think it's extremely important to talk about since majority of communication in our lives really do center around social media. For me, I use social media a lot to promote confidence equals beauty. I use social media to help with my pageantries and try to get the word out of what pageants I'm trying to support. I'm trying to build up. I use social media to help keep in touch with family and friends who live all over the world. And so what I have found with social media is a lot of times we are just bombarded with a lot of things that can actually trigger specifically women into feeling worse about ourselves. That's such examples of we go on social media, we struggle with comparison. We get on social media and we see someone else's life and we compare ourselves to their lives. I have a quote that I use all the time that comparison steals all joy, and I think it's true. Let's have a real chat about self-esteem when it comes to social media. Let's have a real chat about how we can really overcome our self-esteem and build the confidence. So building confidence as a woman today can feel like an uphill battle, especially with all the pressures we face, both online and off. Between career goals, social expectations, and a constant feed of picture-perfect lives on social media, it's easy to feel like we're not measuring up. But here's the truth, and I want you to really, really hear this out. Building self-esteem is a journey, and it's so worth it when you finally allow yourself to do it. So let's dive in. Let's talk about what can help us rise above these challenges. So the common obstacle to self-esteem, the social media. It can be a fun way to connect. It brings also some very heavy baggage. We scroll through carefully, editing pictures and highlight reels. It's almost impossible not to compare ourselves. We see other women looking flawless, living perfect lives, achieving amazing things, and suddenly we feel like we're behind, like we're not good enough. But here is the thing. Social media is just a snapshot of someone's life, and often it is filtered to look ideal. Then there's the pressure to look a certain way. With all the beauty filters and editing apps out there, we're bombarded with images that aren't even real. But somehow we feel like our natural beauty doesn't measure up. And don't even get me started on likes and comments. I struggle with this. How many times have you caught yourself judging your own worth by the number of hearts or comments or like buttons or whatever it is that your personal page gets? How many times do you check it to make sure that people are actually responding or liking it? What happens is it reminds ourselves that confidence comes within and not from a little notification. That's the key thing. If we're paying attention to a like or a heart or a good comment, and that's all we're focusing on to build up our confidence, we're looking at it in the wrong way. If you post something, post it. But don't put your self-worth on whether it's liked or not. The power of self-acceptance. Here's something I've learned. Real confidence starts with self-acceptance. It's not about trying to look like someone else or chasing validation from others. It's about recognizing that you are enough, just as you are, flaws and all. Self-acceptance doesn't mean we don't want to grow or improve. It just means we are worthy right now. So let me repeat that again. Self-acceptance doesn't mean we don't want to grow or improve. It just means we're worthy right now, today. If you find yourself constantly comparing yourself to others, especially online, I want you to try this. Every time you catch yourself in a negative spiral, Pause and think what you love about yourself. Focus on your strengths and your unique qualities. And if scrolling makes you feel less than, then it's time to consider backing off. Maybe do a digital detox. I'll use myself as an example. There are many times I'll achieve something and I will post it, and then I'll start scrolling with someone else and I see that maybe they did something better, or I perceive it as better than mine. Maybe I finally got my kids to smile right for the one picture after taking 100 of them. But my children didn't all have the perfect matching outfits, where I see another mom have all their children in the cutest color coordinated outfit. And then I all of a sudden start thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I'm a bad mom. Oh, people aren't going to accept me. People are going to think what's wrong. And they go into this negative spiral of all these negative thoughts. And what made me happy about I finally got a good picture with my children and a moment that I picked to pick on social media and put up there, I start comparing my picture to someone else's. So something that has helped me is a lot of times I post and I let it go. And I try not to follow up on it, to look at likes or hearts or whatever it is. And when I find myself looking at someone else's post and I'm comparing mine to theirs, really do talk out loud and say, stop, Amanda. They are who they are. You are who you are. And if you compare yourself to them, you will continue to be discouraged. And there are so many times I will turn off notifications, specifically on social media, so I'm not going to see all the notifications and every time someone posts something. And sometimes I need a detox. There are many times I put my phone on silent and do not disturb, so I don't fall into that negative thought spiral when I do open up my phone or open up my computer or look at social media. So let's talk about building confidence within. These are some powerful tools that can help you boost your self-esteem from inside out. And one of my favorites is positive affirmations. You might feel silly at first, but try looking at the mirror each morning and say things like, I'm worthy, I'm enough, I am proud of who I am. It sounds simple, but it does really retrain your mind to think positive about yourself. So think about this. Every time you look into the mirror and you tell yourself some positive things about yourself, think about how better your day is going to start versus cutting yourself down. You want another great tip? Set some personal goals that you care about. They don't have to be big or flashy. They just have to mean something to you. It could be learning a new skill, getting more active, or just reading more. When you start achieving small goals, it builds a genuine sense of confidence, because it's about what matters to you, not what anyone else thinks. So whatever goal you set for yourself, this week, with it being close to the end of the school year with my children, my goal was for 1 hour each day. I was going to go through one area or one room and just do what's called a sweep clean, where I put everything back in its place. Because sometimes I get lost in the week, and by the end of the week, my house looks like we survived a tornado. It's moms, y'all know what I'm talking about, especially with young children. Well, no, let me take that back. My teenagers are gross too. And so that was a personal goal for me this week. One room, sweep clean, put everything back in its place. And half the time it did not even take me an hour, but I set an hour out of my day to do that. And in fact, I found that I made into multiple rooms in 1 hour. And I'm now halfway through the week, and most of my goal has been accomplished. That is not even a big flashy, let me put it all over social media, let me make a big bragging deal about it. That was just a personal goal I needed for myself, so I could feel a sense of purpose. I could feel that I am doing something productive because I need to feel productive. It also helped me gain the confidence in myself that I can, if I set time away or set time aside, I can achieve something. And that's what helped me. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, set a personal goal. Here's a big one that I mentioned earlier, but I think this one is extremely important if you find yourself feeling more in the negative headspace when you're on social media, limiting your time. Permit yourself to focus on real connection and activities that genuinely make you happy. Social media will always be there. I mean, right now it is. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but right now it's there. But it's amazing what little time away it can do for your mental health. And I am a personal example of it. I've used that example before. Sometimes you just got to turn your phone over and just not look at it. Sometimes you just got to get on the computer and research something you want to learn. Don't go on social media scrolling and looking at all the whatever newest fad is or newest. Right now my social media feed is full of political stuff, and I'm having to just be like, no. And the next thing on my social media feed is a lot of like losing weight stuff and anti-aging cream, and I have to just be like, no, stop, because it's making your brain think you're not good enough. So I think it's okay. In fact, I know it's okay to give yourself a break if you find yourself struggling with your self-esteem because you keep getting on social media and basically comparing. So the next is mindfulness, self-care, and of course we've mentioned before, but the digital detox. I can't stress enough how important it is to build a self-care routine. Mindfulness practices like meditation or journaling can be so grounding, especially in a world full of distractions. Set aside a few minutes each day to check in with yourself, reflect on your day, jot down what you're grateful for, or just breathe. So a simple self-care routine would be maybe getting your journal out and writing in it. Try to find things you're grateful for. Try to tell yourself how wonderful you are and write it out. Mindfulness practice. Sitting it with yourself. Enjoying spending time with yourself. A lot of women, we don't do that. We're so busy with the distractions of things, we just don't sit with ourselves and enjoy it. I have a friend, one of her self-care routine is she goes to dinner alone. And she said at first it was the most awkward thing she had ever done, but after a while now she loves it because she loves food and she loves how recipes and all the different seasonings and sauces blend together. And so she said it was one thing that she set aside, and she goes out to eat alone so she can just savor and enjoy the meal without fighting a child or having to force conversation with other people. My personal self-care routine, I love a good hot bath. I don't get to do them often, but sometimes it's nice, and I will put on meditation music and I will just dim the lights, enjoy one of my favorite candles. And it's something that helps me when I get done. I just feel new again. So let's consider it a digital detox. It's a game changer. When you step back from social media, it gives you a perspective, reduces stress, and brings you back to what really matters. You start to feel more grounded and more in tune with who you are, not who the internet says or thinks you should be. This goes for when you're standing in line at the grocery store. I don't know how many times I see people whip out their phone, and because they're waiting, they're impatient, or they just need to distract themselves, they'll put their phone out. And the whole time let me use me as an example. I'll do that to check my email because a notification came up. And my children are trying to have a conversation with me, and I'm distracted and I get frustrated because, well, I'm trying to read an email, but yet my children are online and they're wanting to have a conversation with me. Sometimes we get our phone out not even thinking about it, like at dinner, the dinner table. You're missing out on the opportunities every time you're more worried about what other people are doing or what are your numbers doing online. So let's move on to overcoming setbacks and self-doubt. Of course, we're going to have moments of self-doubt. I don't know a single person who doesn't have moments of doubt. There are days we feel like imposters, like we're not smart enough, pretty enough, successful enough. The list goes on. But guess what? Everyone feels that some way. When those moments come, remind yourself that confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being resilient. When you're feeling the doubt or you're feeling that you're not good enough, That's not the time to be like, oh, when this happens, I'll finally get confidence. No, this is the time to believe in yourself. This is the time to be like, okay, yes, this isn't happening yet. I had an epic fail. The dinner did not turn out good. Or, man, I'm struggling walking in heels. I mean, it's silly little things, but those aren't moments to beat yourself up. That isn't like, oh, I don't have the confidence to do it. I could never do that. No, do it anyways, even if it isn't perfect. It's about keep doing it and doing it and doing it and not giving up. And you'll see yourself feeling, knowing you have the confidence to overcome anything. Another tip is when you find yourself, feeling alone or down or any of the negative vibes, I encourage you, find a supportive community. Surround yourself with friends, family. Even an online community can help lift you up. I have many, many friends that are all over the world, and we do have an online community called Confidence Equals Beauty Love You on Facebook. And if you can find it, I encourage you to send a request to join. This is a place where we uplift each other. It's a place where we encourage each other. I send motivational quotes as many times as I can in a week. It's a time that I challenge women to step out of their comfort zones. It's a beautiful community to be part of. And so I encourage you, find yourself a supportive community. Having friends in your corner who see your worth can be incredibly affirming, especially on the days when you don't quite feel yourself. Now, you're not looking at them to fill your self-esteem. You're looking at them to help raise you and support you in whatever decisions you make and whatever you do. And they're cheering you on and they're praying over you and they're just constantly giving you encouraging words. I encourage you to find that group. So in final thoughts, remember, self-esteem isn't a destination. It's an ongoing journey. There will be ups and downs, and that's okay. Every woman deserves to feel confident and secure in herself, and that includes being kind to yourself and embrace who you are and keep building your self-worth step by step. And I want you to kind of think about this. We talked on social media about social media as kind of the main topic, and I know we kind of got a little off topic there, but kind of circle back around. Be you and be you authentically. You do not need to compare yourself to other people. You have your lane and they have their lane. And the moment you try to swerve into someone else's lane, or you allow distractions to come and distract you from who you really are and what you're doing and what's beautiful in your life, the constant struggle you will face. You have a lane. Stay in it. Do what's best for you. Do what's good for you. What's good for you is not going to be what's good for someone else. If you're not a mom that has everything in perfect rows, but yet your neighbor seems like, man, she has the most gorgeous house ever, that's okay. That's her lane. Your lane's, you probably can bake the best cookies ever. But just recognize when you go there, it is okay. And I encourage you, take a break. Because if it's a trigger for you, every time you get on social media and you start comparing yourself and your self-esteem starts suffering, get off. It's not worth it. I will tell you a replacement. I encourage you to get into your Bible. I encourage you to read who God says you are. I encourage you to find inspirational quotes that you can say over and over. I encourage you to speak out loud everything that is true about you, good truth about you. So here's a mantra to carry with you. I am enough exactly as I am. When you start believing this, your confidence can only grow. And you're on a path and you're doing beautifully, and keep going. And remember, confidence equals beauty. Thank you for listening to Confidence Equals Beauty podcast with Amanda Taylor. If this podcast has helped you in any way, I encourage you to subscribe to this podcast so you do not miss out on any new episodes. Also, please share this podcast with others. Please go to the ratings and rate this podcast, preferably a high rating. Please leave comments on how this podcast is helping you. The more you share, the more we share, the more we can build up this community of Confidence Equals Beauty. Also, if you're not part of Confidence Equals Beauty community, I encourage you, go to Confidence Equals Beauty with Amanda Taylor's Facebook page. It's a group and join it. There's also Confidence Equals Beauty Love You group. If you're also in need of additional resources to help you work through your confidence, please go to www.confidenceequalsbeauty.com. And then you can find my blog and a lot more resources. There you can also subscribe and get update information on what is happening. And thank you for being part of this community. Thank you for listening. And remember, confidence equals beauty.